Hello everybody, my name is Austin Kelly and I'm going to be doing my SPED talk on ASP.NET Core and RESTful APIs and how they connect. So what is ASP.NET Core? So ASP.NET Core is a .NET framework used for creating web pages. It uses a server-side markup language called Razor to implement the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. On top of that, it uses C#, F#, or Visual Basics as the primary languages to connect the front end to the back end. And then it can also be used for creating RESTful APIs. It also uses the MVC pattern, which I will talk about in a little bit. So what is a RESTful API? REST stands for Representational State Transfer, and it is used to connect the client side of your program with the server side. In other words, it's used to connect the front end with the back end. And it uses HTTP protocols to produce CRUD operations. And CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. So create is like your post methods, where you can create an object and post it or add it into your database. Your read operation is your get methods, where you pull from the database and you're able to display certain information based on your request. The update is similar to the post, but it's a put, where instead of creating a new object, it is updating an existing object. And then delete, just like its name implies, it deletes information from the database based on specifications that it is given. So as I mentioned before, the ASP.NET Core uses the MVC pattern, which stands for Models, View, and Controllers. So the models I like to think of as the skeletal system of your API. In other words, it gives it the structure of what your object in the database looks like. So it models the structure of each component you wish to create, read, update, or delete. So as an example, this is one from my current project. As you can see, this is a user. So the user has a user ID, a username, first name and last name, a password, and an email address. And these are what is getting stored inside the database, is the structure of that table. The next part of the MVC pattern is the views. So a view is used for creating the user interface, or the front end. However, it is not required for web APIs. If you choose, you can use other frameworks like Vue.js or Angular or React. For my personal project, I'll be using Vue.js, but you can use whatever you would like. But it is an option in this case where you can use Razor, as I talked about before, to connect the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript with your preferred programming language of C#, F#, or Visual Basics. So the last part of the MVC pattern is the controllers. So the controllers are the functions called to create, read, update, or delete objects from the database. These functions return IHTTP action results. These results include, but are not limited to, the 200, 404, and the 500. So the 200 success message is when everything goes right. It either is able to read from the database and you got all the information properly, or it successfully creates, updates, or deletes the object in the database. The 404 not found is when the object is just that, not found within the database based on the credentials or parameters you gave the function. And then the 500 error is when something goes wrong in your code and there's an error. So in conclusion, an ASP.NET is used to create web applications and web APIs. It connects the front end with the back end using the CRUD operations. and it uses the model view controller pattern. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed.